Assalamu alaikum, guys. Thank you very much for joining me today. As you guys know, I'll be interviewing the head of players recruitment for the Somali national team. He will be joining us any minute now. Again, thank you very much for joining me, whether you're interested in football or not. I think it's something very important for us as a country, giving our youth and our football as a platform to progress, to get to the international stage, to be able to represent their country, and hopefully be able to pursue and actually realize their dream of becoming a professional footballer. To be honest, I've not known Sayid for a very, very long time myself, but from what I've seen from him, he was a very, very genuine, very nice guy. We first met actually at the airport. I think it was on the way to Africa when we was playing against Zimbabwe. He was appointed a few months before that game, so he had a very tough task to bring all these players together for such a big game. And he will be talking to us today to try and shed some light on his role, his responsibility, how he tries to pick the players, how he's found it so far. As you guys know, I'm not very technical myself when it comes to this Instalive, so I'm just trying to see where he is. He's actually calling me as on a video call now. Give me 1 second, guys. I think I'm gonna have to leave you guys, but I'll be back any minute because I'm not too technical and I don't think he is either. Actually, Mahmoud, can you give him a call, please? And Mahmoud, give him a call, please, and tell him how to join this session instead of me going offline again. Give him a call, Mahmoud, or any of the players, and tell him how to join this session. Also, there will be a Q&A. So if you guys got any questions for either Sayid or myself, don't hesitate to drop them in here somewhere. And yeah, I can see he's joined now. I'm just gonna invite him now. Assalamu alaikum, Sayid. How are you? Thank you very much for joining us today.
Alhamdulillah. You're welcome, brother.
So I think without further ado, let's go straight into it. I've just spoken to you already a few minutes ago, so let's not waste time with pleasantries. I would like to first off start by giving you an opportunity to introduce yourself to the wider community, whether it's football fans, players, or just people in general who are following us today. Just your name, your background, and your role within the Somali Football Federation.
Okay, Assalamu alaikum everybody, Ramadan Mubarak. My name is Said Haibeh. I've studied sports management. Sports management is my field of expertise. I work for the Somali Football Federation as a head of players recruitment, and I've started working for them April 2019.
Okay, so you start in 19, which is roughly, actually it's a year now, hasn't it? It's been a year for you. So how has it been the last 12? Yeah, last 12. Has it been? Obviously, we were together in Africa when it came to the World Cup qualifiers. I wasn't able to attend the Sekafa in Uganda. So how has it been the last 12 months?
It's been really amazing experience. I met the president in Holland, a city called Arnhem. I had a good conversation with him, and that's when I proposed recruiting players from abroad to represent Somalia, mainly because I was already representing players at a professional level that you included as well. So he accepted that, and it was great. It started. The recruitment process started exactly on the 6th of August, like 29 days before we played.
Roughly a month before the game.
Yes. month before the game, yeah. I was in Toronto. The president called me. We had the conversation. We completed the agreement between us, and that's when I started. It's been really good. Players have been very welcoming. Players have been all excited, including yourself, Mahmoud, Abdul Samad, Umar. Everybody was really excited about the opportunity. Then obviously I had to contact not only the players, the clubs as well, professionally inform them that we need the players to come over and participate in World Cup. Everybody really cooperated. Clubs cooperated very well. Players cooperated very well. It was amazing experience. Djibouti first game, you captained the team. It was the most amazing thing ever I've experienced it. So
Yeah.
even thought the second leg we lost and went out for goal difference. It's been amazing. And after that we went to Uganda for Sekafa.
Tell us a bit about tell us a bit about Sekafa, because people, of course, they know the World Cup qualifiers and they might not know exactly what the Sekafa is. And I wasn't there myself, so how was that experience for you and the players?
Sekafa experience was as good as the World Cup. It was not the same, obviously, but Sekafa is East and Central Africa Cup, which is the regional cup, which is important, and it happens every year. It's hosted every year. A different nation hosts every year. So it was good experience. In terms of how we did, we could have done better. We had really good chance to go to the semi-finals, but it wasn't meant to happen. But we've done very well considering the obviously teams before us, when they used to lose lots of games. They used to come back with lots of goals in their minus bags. So it was really good experience as well. We had some few players, new players who joined us as well, who had enjoyed as well themselves. They didn't have much experience, but did obviously participated. The experienced ones were there as well. As I said earlier, obviously some were missing, including the captain, which was you. But it was great. It was fantastic. The support we had from the Uganda supporters, Somalis in Uganda was unbelievable. We enjoyed it. The players enjoyed it as well.
Yeah, I seen it as well. I tried to stay up to date with what was going on, and yeah, it was amazing to see you guys get so close, or us guys, because not just as a player, but as a Somali, person, obviously part of the team. And I think most of the people that were watching, as much as they weren't there, they felt part of the team. And like you said, I've played before Sekafa, and one game I remember till this day, 7-0, we got beat. So it's great to see the progression. Obviously, you've watched my first episode of AhmedsAngle that I released roughly a week ago, trying an important question to not just myself. I think you're very interested in it as well, which was, why are we Somalis underrepresented in the top of world football? And I would like to take your take or your opinion on that touchy subject.
Okay, brilliant. That's a good question. That's a question that everybody asks us. Just to highlight, myself, I have been doing a research, and I've been talking to professional players from North Africa and West Africa, including championship players in England, former Premier League player in England, Samba Diakite, QPR, used to play for QPR. And I was asking them, why are North Africans and West Africans more successful than Central and East Africa? And obviously it's a broad conversation that we're not going to finish today, but
no, definitely.
I think the fact that coming back to Somalia is the country has been in civil war and difficulties for the past 30 years, and when you don't have a stable government, you don't have a stable education, you don't have a stable grassroots football back home. Obviously that's the main difficulty, that people have struggled back home and didn't have proper life, teenage life or young life to experience football in good levels, grassroots. That's the biggest effect we had. It's not an excuse, obviously, but it's a fact. And secondly,
it is.
I believe the fact that the Somali government themselves doesn't take part really much in terms of developing players. It didn't help as well. Obviously, when the government is not stable itself and trying to survive and help, education and health services and stuff, football doesn't come really priority. So that's the reason the government struggled as well. But considering, we've been in a civil war for the past 30 years, I think we've we've done well. The federation has done quite well. And that's my
opinion. Take the conversation sort of to the diaspora. So the things that you've just touched on is generally relates to the players back home. So we've got a big diaspora community, which I've tried to point out in my video.
Yes.
Europe, you know, a lot of Somali people, and we all grow up, including me, wanting to be, you know, a footballer. And what do you think it is that is stopping us reaching the top?
Okay, yeah, let me come back to the diaspora. You're right, we have lots of players, lots of hopeful players, youngsters, factors that really are a fact, and I've experienced it and I've seen it myself. One being not working really very hard, because if you want to be a footballer, a professional footballer, you must work hard. You're going to experience difficulties. Nothing is easy. Michael Jordan didn't come a star overnight. He had to work really, really hard. Every player is like that. So working hard is one thing that you need to have. Discipline and attitude is another that you need to have. And obviously the family plays a big part. If your family are on board and they are assisting you at a young age, most likely you'll be successful. Mukhtar Ali is a good role model. You know, I know his father. He works with me. You know, he's been looking after. He's been taking the kid ever since he was young. He never gave up. He never gave until he got the opportunity to beat. He was with Leyton Orient, and then he left Leyton Orient. Then he was picked for a tournament in East London by Chelsea and Manchester City, and he went for Chelsea. What it is Mukhtar Ali's father himself, Ali, told me that there were a couple of other Somali boys who same level as Mukhtar, very good with Chelsea, but then again, were not committed as Mukhtar was committed. Their parents were not really committed. Sometimes he used to pick them up, and they never used to open their doors. They used to disappear. So commitment in terms of the kid himself and the parents is very important. It's crucial, actually. And let's talk about the teenagers. When you grow up and become 18, 19, and you think you've got what it takes to be a footballer, yes, you have what it takes to be a footballer, but do you want to do it in England at the comfort of your home and stay there and try? It's very competitive in England. As you know, you played here and you still play here, and you played in Holland. It's very competitive here. You have to get out of the comfort zone if you want to make it. Go outside, go abroad, go to East Europe, go to wherever you can, and try your best. That's what you need to do. You have to work really hard, get out of the comfort zone. That's what I believe.
No, I think I agree fully with everything you've said. And I wonder as well, maybe to do with the fact that we don't have enough Somali agents. You know, football nowadays is also then sort of what you can do. Because footballers, the margins are very small. Maybe you're a bit better or a bit less, but if you've got the right representative, or, you know, a connection with a coach, or things play a role, you know, people might not realize that. And I think if we got more people like yourself who are looking to help players, you know, bring them to different clubs, once we've got that sort of background for Somalis, you know, someone who's like that maybe fell out through the, and then they've got someone like you, don't worry, I've got a good relationship with this club in a different country. They trust me, they believe in me, and I know that you're a good player. I can take you there with one phone call. I think that's something that will help us address this problem.
I agree. It's something that I've discussed it with Somali youth coaches, youth developers, and recently I discussed it with Ali Abdallah. Ali Abdallah, that you know, obviously, worked with Crystal Palace and still works with Crystal Palace. It's something that we've discussed it with him and somebody else. I told him, listen, I'm willing to come on board. I'm willing to play not only the agent role, but I'm willing to play the parent role as well, because there are lots of players out there, including few that he told me, 17 years old, that Chelsea called it, and Chelsea were interested in him, who just lost the plot because, you know, his parents were not with him. You know, nobody was encouraging him. So I am willing to play the role that the agent needs to play, and develop the youth from young age, and even play the parent role, which is I'm qualified to represent minors as well, so I can represent them at club level. So it is a good point. Brilliant. It's something that I'm working on.
MashaAllah, that's good. And we should all support you, and hopefully there will be more like yourself that have taken that responsibility to help and try and progress our community. question I wanted to ask you, and I think that's probably the question that everyone here today wants to know. Like, obviously, you're the head of player recruitment, and there's loads of players. I'm sure they've been in touch with you as well. They've certainly messaged me because for some reason they think, you know, I'm the coach or something. But a lot of players message me and ask me, I want to represent the national team. So I ask you today, as the head of player recruitment, what sort of ways do you identify talented players? What sort of steps do you take in trying to, you know, approach them, see, or how do you identify if they're actually good enough? So just talk us through your way of working.
Okay, thank you. Yes, players do get in touch with me all the time, young players, mature players. Last year process was different than what I'm planning to do this year. Last year process, everything was short notice. We had to get you know, all the players ready and bring them on board as quickly as possible. So obviously we left some players behind that we couldn't recruit them on time for different reasons, including the passport offices were closing times and opening times as well. But the way I look at it in terms of recruiting players, first step is you need to be a professional footballer. You can be in any level. You can be 4th division, 5th division, 2nd division, 1st division. You need to be a professional footballer who's training weekly, all week, and playing games, obviously, just like yourself and Mahmoud and all the rest of the players who came to play for us. So it's very important that you're not just a pro bowler and have a contract, but playing is important. If you're in first team and you're not playing games, ask your coach to give you opportunity to go to second team and play games, because you need to play matches to be fully fit. Obviously you are fit, but you need match fitness. So in terms of recruitment level, the higher you are, the better. You know, if you play top division in Denmark or Sweden or England, it's better, because what we're recruiting, remember, is a national team, 23 players or squad that the best players we have around. That means you have to be on your top, or whether football level, condition, discipline, and attitude as well. So what I normally do is I look around all professional football clubs in Europe, North America, and Africa, all levels, from top division to the lowest division that they play. I look at the players who are member, players who are youth levels. I look at them, and then obviously depending on their level and suitability for the national team, I make contact with them. There are some players I can't contact sometimes because of difficulties. They're not on media service or using social medias. Then I try to use local people. Like Uganda, we have somebody who represents us, obviously represents me. So this is exactly how I do. And anybody who thinks that he's good enough to play for Somalia, you need to be playing for a club. Whether even if it's semi-pro is good, it's not a problem. Semi-pro, you're almost there. You know, the main thing is that you are focusing, playing regularly, and you are ready when your nationality is there and your national team is calling you. So everybody is welcome. This is obviously to represent Somalia. Every player is welcome, young or old. Remember, we took young Abdul Aziz from East London. Obviously, he's not professional. He's a semi-pro. He's playing, young experience. He was with us in Uganda. He had a great experience. So we're always looking for young players. I've just spoke to a couple of nights. I spoke to a new player that I'll be recruiting. His name is Hamza Hussein. He plays in Denmark. He plays in the Super League Denmark, top division, 20 years old. So yeah. I'm constantly
I've seen his profile.
I've seen his profile. Yes. So the higher profile, the better, obviously. You know, we will be competing, you know, a top division football in terms of national teams in East Africa and Central Africa, and then mainland in as well. So the higher, the better. And where you got if you got the talent, if you're under 17, obviously you're not playing first team, it's fine. Under 17s, if you're good enough, I'll come and look at you, then you'll be up there. Sure.
Okay, so thank you very much for explaining that. And so yeah, guys, this is what you were all waiting for. Just in terms of, you know, you've mentioned someone from Denmark now who plays in the top division in Denmark, and we've had players who are Somali but who've got a dual nationality, basically, who can either represent Norway and Somalia, or maybe America and Somalia. What do you say to those players who are somewhat young, maybe 19, 20, with a lot of potential, a lot of ability, who when you phone them, say, you know what, appreciate the offer. However, I want to wait, or, at this stage, I'm not really interested to make that decision because I want to come, represent, a Norway or a Holland or Canada or whatever it may be.
Okay, that is an area that I'm really focusing this year. I did go in touch with players in Canada, America, Sweden, Italy, Somalis who have dual nationalities, as you mentioned, and obviously they have hopes to represent the nations where they have their, including Dabukar as well, or Finland. I spoke with him before we went to the World Cups, and he wanted to delay it, obviously, because he wants to play for Finland, which is understandable. Bilal Hussein, his father is my friend. He plays for AEK in Sweden, top division. He's under 20 Sweden as well. Obviously, he wants to play for Sweden. I think a good way that we can attract players like them is financially. We have to be stable. The federation, obviously, it doesn't get support from FIFA. FIFA money is not good enough. I've experienced it. I've seen it myself. I've traveled twice, as you know, you traveled with us once. It's difficult to survive without sponsorship, money from your government, and to bring young players, like we've mentioned a few names now. The most important thing is we need to have finances in place, because you must be able to bring players, young players like that. If you offer them incentives, they will come on board. They will be like, I'm going to play for my nation. So offering incentives is the way that we're looking at it. Increasing player fees is what we're looking at it as well, because to encourage players to come on board all the time. These are facts that I'm working on now, and we look into it. What I would say is those of Somalis who are wealthy enough, they should come on board with us and sponsor us, because this nation is for everybody. Few of us are representing the nation now. Those of you who are watching, those who are supporting us, everybody needs to chip in, because the nation it belongs to us, all of us. So this is what we need. What we need is I am thinking of, obviously, as I'm director of fundraising as well, I'm thinking of starting fundraising as well. The only reason I thought about getting involved in fundraising is to improve the team at all levels, to get finances, to make sure that the team runs really very well, the players travel smoothly, train well, are equipped very well, sponsored very well. So I'm working on that, and hopefully we'll get to that stage. And definitely, I wouldn't like Bilal Hussein to represent Sweden. I'd rather Bilal Hussein representing. I wouldn't like Said Haibeh of America under 20 to represent America. I want him to represent Somalia. So, but there are ways I'm working on. Hopefully, I'll bring them on board.
Mashallah, that's good. And yeah, it's the sad reality. Unfortunately, it's not good enough to say, you know what, you're Somali, come and help us. We have to have incentives in place to try and attract these players. I've seen a few questions come up as well, like how do you advise, or how can other people who are not players themselves, how can they support our efforts as a federation? And you've mentioned regarding fundraising, and I wonder, how do all these other, like the Englands, the Netherlands, how do they manage to raise money? Is it just a matter of wealthy people give us a few £100 or whatever it may be, and then we'll do whatever we need to do with that money? Or is there some sort of a connection, or maybe some sponsorship opportunities where a company can benefit themselves as well?
There are different ways that nationality, people on the same nationality, are supporting their countries. Wealthy people, they pay money, they pay lump sums. The sponsorship is the most important thing, which, for example, England now, their biggest sponsor is BT. BT paid £60 million for 5 years, England. That's the biggest, obviously. But overall, England, they have 26 sponsors. Everybody can look at the website. 26 sponsors. We don't have one sponsor, single sponsor. In terms of fundraising, we're going to start fundraising online. There will be a platform that will be published on the Somali Football Federation website and on the social medias as well. But definitely, those who want to chip in, we will be obviously in waves of fundraising. You can chip in. And those who are wealthy enough to sponsor us, come forward. there's nothing to be ashamed of. It's your nation, whether you live the side of Djibouti border or the side of Kenya border. This is your country. At the end of the day, when you as a captain and the players put the jersey on, you're representing your nation. Supporters are always supporting us. We appreciate the support. The whole country and abroad people supported us. It's time to chip in. Chip in wherever you can, and we'll advertise how to chip in, inshallah.
Okay, mashallah, that's good. I think also what we need to work on as a federation is to simplify things, because I'm sure there's loads of people who want to contribute one way or another, but they just struggle to find the right channels to do that. So in terms of like 2020 now, social media, as you know, people are watching us now today on Instagram Live. So I think as a federation, we need to improve our presence on social media. People should know this is the official Instagram channel of the federation. This is the official Twitter channel. This is the appropriate way to donate some money. And I think if we work on that, inshallah, the sponsorship and engagement will flow. Also, what I wanted to ask, in terms of, obviously the stadium is ready now back home, which is a great achievement by all involved. The coaching situation, what's the latest that you've got on that? I seen a video clip a few days ago. The president was mentioning that there are maybe some news coming in the foreseeable future. What do you know?
Okay, coaching, we're working really hard on creating a couple of coaches. Obviously, until everything is official, it will not be announced by the federation. But as you know, there's a young coach that the federation recruited for under 17s, under 20s, Abdulhamid Mualim. That's good progress as well. You've mentioned about the federation getting involved and about the awareness of the activities that are happening and how things happening in the social media. I agree with you. And head of the media, Mr. Shafi'i, is including you. I've mentioned online on our WhatsApp group that he needs to do these things. He's working on it. He told me a couple of nights ago. It's a platform that we need to bring people on board, especially youngsters who are crazy about football. My Facebook is almost exploding, because of the support we had, the game that we played, Zimbabwe and Djibouti, and obviously the one in Harare. So the momentum is there, and the momentum in terms of finances and in terms of obviously sponsorship and obviously fundraising. We need to build that and then carry on what we started September 2019.
Mashallah, yeah, that's true. It's a progress. It's a journey that we're all on together, and it's not something that will happen overnight. And that's sort of what my next question is as well. What do you have in mind for the future? I had an interview myself with Prince Salat not too long ago, and where he asked me, what's next, what's going to happen. So I wanted to ask you that question in terms of your own role and in terms of our football team.
Okay, that's the question everybody's asking. Obviously, yourself and the other players are thinking, when are we going to play next? As you know, since this COVID-19 started, everything has been delayed. We are not sure exactly who we play next for a friendly match, but it will be a friendly match. I'm not sure whether we'll be playing Stadium Mogadishu home or we'll be playing outside Somalia, but definitely there will be friendly matches coming before December, that we go to Sudan for another CECAFA tournament. So the federation will probably announce on their website and on social medias who we will be playing next. It's something that I'm looking forward to it, and the players, I'm sure yourself and the others are looking forward to it.
Yeah, and just one final, in terms of recruitment, can we expect prizes for the next the next get together, the next game?
I didn't hear that question.
Can we expect any surprises, any new players for the next game?
Yes. Surprises are always coming, inshallah. Just like I mentioned it to you, Hamza Hussein is one from the Danish Super League, and yes, few names, hopefully, inshallah.
Okay, so let's keep that between. I don't even know it myself, so you just keep that to yourself, and we'll, the people will become aware of it in due course. So thank you very much, Sayid, for joining. Actually, before I let you go, I just want to go through some of the questions that, you know, the people have sort of put here on my Instagram. But again, thank you very much for doing this with me today.
It's a pleasure.
Everyone give him a follow on social media if you have any questions that you want to ask him personally. 1 second. I'm not really, I'm quite new to this, so excuse me for my amateurism. So someone is asking Mo, coaching, how can he wants to get involved as a scout? Like if, for example, obviously you're based in the UK, if there was someone in a country like South Africa, where I'm sure there are Somali players, they want to get involved as a scout, because I'm sure you're busy with, you know, recruiting players more locally. Is there any need for someone like that in America, where you struggle to attend personally, to get in touch with you?
We need everybody on board. We need everybody on deck. You know, everybody has to come on board. You know, this is a job that everybody needs to do. Obviously, start doing it voluntarily in the beginning, and then obviously, if the position is professionally available, they will be offered. This is how I started, as you know, Ahmed, and you know, we all Somalis come on board. If you're in South Africa, for example, now, Umar Kambala, he runs clubs, youth clubs over there. He appointed himself to identify players. Before I even asked him, he said to me, can I do this here for you? I said, yes, of course, that's what I'm looking for everywhere. So if you're in South Africa or America, if you're a scout, professional scout, if you can identify talents, please do get in touch with us. And obviously we can work together. It's not a problem at all, because it's for the national team.
Okay, so the connection went a bit slow there, but I got what you said. Oh. So everyone needs to chip in terms of, not financially necessarily, but in terms of what they can do for our national team. If you've got the freedom or the luxury to attend where you live, and you are aware of a good player, you can record the games, or you can, you know, download the games on whatever, and then send it to Sayid so we can have a look. That would be very much appreciated. I've got another question regarding funding. So how is it that we can implement accountability on funding? It's something that we've touched on a little bit earlier. So I'm sure there are people, wealthy people, you know, you said BT, you know, 26 million that they contribute to the England national team. What would you say, for example, to, is it Hormuz, you know, Telecom? I think they're the biggest telecom provider back home. They might want to chip in, or, you know, lack of accountability is holding them back. What do you say to someone like that?
I think they're already locally involved in terms of the league sponsoring them, and obviously they know the drill. But in terms of accountability, I am sure anybody who wants to come on board as a sponsor, there will be a contract between that person, that company, and the federation themselves. And obviously these terms and conditions has to be fulfilled. It's so obvious. It's black and white. It's a big responsibility for somebody to come on board and sponsor the national team Somalia. We prefer locals. We prefer a Somali person, whether you are abroad or Somalia. It'd be wonderful to partner your country. If you're wealthy enough, you can partner them, because you're not giving money. You're giving some money, but some money and plus your capital will be coming back to you anyway, because, you know, there will be stadium entrances, there will be kids sponsorships. You know, it's a good way if you love the game of football and you are Somali and you have enough money to invest and chip in. So accountability, I'll come back to your job. It's very important, and it's something that obviously myself, if I find a sponsor, I'm taking very seriously, and we'll sit down with them and obviously agree with their terms and conditions and our terms and conditions. And the federation believes that as well.
Okay, that's brilliant. I've got a question here regarding Abdul Sharif, and if you've spoken to them. I think I might know the answer to that, but what do you want to say to that?
Actually, I want to answer to that. Abdul Sharif is a young top footballer. I actually
whoever doesn't know him,
I have a contact with him. Yes, so he's really an exciting player, and who knows the future? you know, he'll probably be open to it, inshallah.
Okay, so yeah, what people sometimes, yeah, people need to realize if someone represents a different country, as long as he hasn't played a official game, which could be a World Cup game or a World Cup qualifier, such a person can still change. So who knows what the future holds? I think that's it, Said. Again, I appreciate your the time to speak with me today. I hope you guys enjoyed it as well. It's my first ever interview on Sayid, on Instalive, Sayid. So the honor was yours today. Stay tuned. Actually, next week, inshallah, I'll release episode 2 of AhmedsAngle. Completely different topic. I hope you guys are excited as I am with this project. And I don't know if you want to close with something, Sayid. Honor is yours.
Thank you. I really appreciate the opportunity that you gave me to speak with yourself and the supporters and other people out there, including the players themselves. This is our national team. Whichever way you can support your national team. Your support was amazing. We appreciate it, and please keep doing it. And encourage, if your cousin or your son or your brother is a young footballer, please encourage them. Tell them not to give up. Stay with them. Go to training with them. Go to matches with them. And if you can't do it, let us know. If they're in Europe or in England, we will help them. We will represent them, and we will go to trainings with them and matches with them as well, inshallah.
Thank you very much, Sayid. And make sure you guys follow Sayid. And if you're a player, again, like Sayid said, if you think you're good enough, please get in touch. Okay, Sayid. Assalamu alaikum. Take care.
Alaikum assalam. Thanks for having me.
Bye. So, guys, again, thank you very much for joining us today. First interview I've ever done on Instalive. Great experience. I hope I done well. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope I asked the questions that you guys had in mind as well. And if I didn't, I apologize. Again, keep an eye out for episode 2 of AhmedsAngle. I'll release it